I always imagined a big family, a home filled with laughter, the sound of little feet running across the floor, and the warmth of a crowded dinner table. When Emily and I got married, we both agreed that 2 kids would be perfect. It was a practical decision. We wanted to give them the best life possible without feeling overwhelmed. But deep inside, I had always hoped for more. I never voiced it much in the beginning because I believed that when the time was right, she might feel the same way. We had 2 wonderful children, Jake and Lily, who brought us more joy than we could have ever imagined. They were full of life, always running around, laughing, and making every moment in our home feel special. We loved being parents, and despite the challenges, we wouldn't trade it for anything. But as they grew older, something inside me stirred, a feeling I couldn't ignore. I started longing for another child, the way I had longed for our first 2. It wasn't just about having a baby again. It was about that sense of completeness I felt was missing. One evening, as Emily and I lay in bed, I finally voiced my feelings. I turned to her and said, "I think I want another baby." She barely hesitated before shaking her head. "We agreed on 2, she reminded me. "And honestly, I think we're in a good place now. The kids are getting older, and we're finally able to breathe again. Another baby would change everything." I understood where she was coming from. Parenting had been exhausting, and we had finally reached a stage where things felt more manageable. There were no more sleepless nights, no more diapers, and no more constant crying. Life had settled into a comfortable rhythm, and she was reluctant to disrupt that. But I couldn't let the idea go. Over the next few months, I brought it up casually now and then, hoping she might reconsider. Sometimes I joked about it. Other times, I simply asked if she ever thought about it. Her answer was always the same. She was happy with 2, and she didn't feel the need for more. One night, after putting the kids to bed, I sat on the couch, lost in my thoughts. Emily sat beside me, studying my face before speaking. "You're thinking about it again, aren't you?" I nodded. "I just feel like someone's missing." She sighed, rubbing her temples. "I wish I felt the same way, but I don't. I love our life the way it is. I don't think we need to add to it." Her words stung, not because she was being harsh, but because I knew she was being honest. I respected her feelings, but it was hard to shake the sense that our family wasn't quite complete. I didn't want to pressure her, so I let it go, even though it never left my heart. Then, something happened that changed everything. Emily's sister came to visit one weekend, bringing her newborn daughter, Sophie. The moment Emily held the tiny baby in her arms, I saw something shift in her expression. She cradled Sophie gently, rocking her, and for a long moment, she didn't say a word. There was something in the way she looked at her niece, a softness in her eyes that I hadn't seen in a long time. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, she sat beside me and sighed. "Holding her reminded me of when Jake and Lily were babies," she admitted. "I had forgotten how small they once were, how they needed us for everything." I didn't say anything, afraid that if I spoke, I might push her too soon. But I could tell something inside her had shifted, even if just a little. A week passed, and then another, and I didn't bring it up again. Then, one evening, as we were cleaning up after dinner, Emily suddenly turned to me. "I've been thinking," she said, her voice careful. "Maybe you're right. Maybe there is room for one more." I almost dropped the plate I was holding. "Are you serious?" She gave me a small, hesitant smile. "Not completely, but I'm open to the idea." Those words were all I needed. Over the next few months, we had long conversations about what it would mean to have another baby. We talked about finances, about space, about whether we had the energy to go through it all again. There were moments of doubt, moments of hesitation, but in the end, love won over fear. One day, she took my hand, looked me in the eye, and said, "Let's do it." The joy I felt in that moment was indescribable. We began planning, and soon enough, we found out the news. We were expecting. The months that followed were filled with anticipation, excitement, and a little bit of nervousness. But when the day finally arrived, and I held our third child in my arms, I knew this was exactly what I had been longing for. Emily looked at me, exhausted but glowing, and whispered, "You were right. Our family wasn't complete yet." I squeezed her hand, overwhelmed with gratitude. "But now it is.